So remember when I told you guys last time I talked about politics? It was the last time? I'm sorry. That was a lie. We have to do our majors. And my major is politics. So as I've said before, I'm a political science major and I've been a political geek kind of my whole life. So outside of the research that we have to do, I read about this all the time, and I study this all the time. So I'm kind of a little, not an expert, but I'm very well versed in these kind of topics. So to start off, does anybody know how many elections have been decided where there is a difference in popular vote and the electoral college vote?
It's 4, right?
No, not anymore. It is now 5. With the current election, with Donald Trump winning the electoral college, but Hillary Clinton winning the popular vote by 2 million votes, are now up to 5. There have been a majority. There are 3 very famous ones. The first Jackson election, which started the age of Jackson, which led to populism. History lesson I don't want to go into. That's where the House of Representatives ended up deciding it because the electoral college was split. But Jackson won the popular vote. The most famous is 2000, where President Bush won the electoral college vote by just winning Florida, and it was a very slim margin. But Al Gore won the popular vote, and then this current one, it's popular because it just happened. Donald Trump won the popular vote. Donald Trump won the electoral college, and Hillary Clinton won the electoral popular vote. So to go into a little bit what the electoral college is, our founding fathers didn't want rule by popular opinion because they thought the public was a little bit uneducated, and at that time it was true. A lot of people were farmers. Many people didn't go to college. It's not like today's society where, look how many people go to college, and look how and they didn't account for the diversity. Just shifting demographics, and the electoral college is basically you have the same amount, basically the amount of the Senate plus the House of Representatives. That amount is split, basically is what your state, how many votes your state gets. So in Florida we have 29 because we have 2 senators like every other state, and then 27 representatives. So it's just a way to, instead of the public deciding, it's like smarter people, but it's devolved from that. In the current stage, we kind of think we directly elect, but according to history.com, we actually, in fact, when you vote for Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, you vote for a group of electors. So the Republican Party sets a group of people, and then the Democratic Party sets a group of people who they will send the electoral college and who actually does the vote sometime in December. So actually, Donald Trump isn't technically the president-elect yet. They haven't decided who won it. In December, Hillary Clinton could win it if the electoral college so chooses. So the problem with the electoral college is it's outdated. It was built in a time when the whole purpose of it is that urban centers weren't really big. In today's world, according to the U.S. Census, 80.1% of the population lives in urban areas compared to 5.1% in 1790, which would be the first census. That's a huge difference. But today, populations are concentrated in urban centers, and that's a big problem because urban centers are minority. That's where minorities are concentrated, and rural areas are predominantly white. And I'll get into that, why that's a problem in a little bit. Getting into how to fix this. This is the census numbers. Getting into how to fix this. There's a few different solutions to this. First is what Maine and Nebraska, according to fairvote.org, an election where you can see kind of like all the election rules. Nebraska and Maine kind of divvy up the popular vote. It's each congressional district, you win your vote like that. So if you did it in Florida, all 27 congressional districts would vote, and then so like Miami-Dade would just be 1 vote. So if you win Miami-Dade, you win that vote. If you win Alachua, you get 1 vote. And then whoever wins the most popular votes get the most congressional districts, you get the 2 senator votes. It's a little bit complicated, I think. And it doesn't really work. The second way solution to this is the popular vote, but I think I think that is a problem because that's exactly what the founding fathers wanted to avoid. And while I don't agree with the founding fathers in the Electoral College, I'm not exactly wanting to scrap all their ideas. Our country is based on all of their ideas, and while we're a never-changing democracy, I think that they had some good ones, and that was a good idea. The reason we have a Senate is because, and the House of Representatives, because the House of Representatives is kind of be like, imagine like a teacup. The teacup is like, the hot tea is like, it's moments of passion, and that's what we have in the House of Representatives, but the Senate is supposed to kind of not let the tea spill over. Like, that's what because they have longer term limit, they have longer terms, so it's to make sure, it's to avoid moments of passion, and the public tends to follow moments of passion. And then finally, my preferred method is proportional voting. So this is this is 2012. This would be the election results if we had proportional vote. So the proportional vote would be, say, in this current election, Donald Trump won Florida, but I believe he won it by only a little bit of like a half percentage point. So Hillary Clinton would just get, let's say it was 49-47, which I think it was. Donald Trump gets 49% of our electoral votes. Hillary Clinton gets 47. I think that is the more fair way to allocate electoral college votes. This is effective because minorities tend to be in urban areas. 70% of minorities live in urban areas, and this eliminates the strategy that Donald Trump followed, which was bump up the numbers in the rural areas, basically eliminating the minority vote. So all the population centers except Jacksonville and Florida voted Hillary Clinton, but he ignored that by just simply driving up the numbers in the rural areas. So I think that's a strategy that really kind of ignores the diversity of this country. And if you allocate the vote, by proportion, you more fairly allocate electoral votes, and it can avoid that problem. So why is this a problem? Nobody likes President Trump. Or not nobody, but this is a big divide, and the problems like this show up with President-elect Trump and even former President Bush. That was a huge problem with how that ended up working. And if you want to stop things like that happening in the future, I would suggest you go with my plan. So now I'm going to call to your action. I'm going to ask you, if you want to change this, the only way to change this is a constitutional amendment, and you need Congress to do that. Or not technically, but the easiest way to do it would be through congressional amendment. So I encourage you all to write your congressman, call your congressman, and do as much as you can to change this and change the Electoral College. Thank you.